Hello everyone, happy 2021, we made it. Today is the first Women's Health Wednesday of 2021. This is something I started in last year. I became a little bit slack near the end, but I'm going to restart it every Wednesday. I'm going to be posting an answer to a question. This is either a question that someone in Hormone Harmony has asked me, or someone in the clinic has asked me, or something that one of you online has asked me. So today we're going to be talking all about thyroid. And thyroid labs. This is something that is super confusing. It was super confusing to me when I first started school as well. So I want to break it down because people are always wondering about their thyroid. So typical low thyroid symptoms are easy weight gain, difficulty losing weight, low energy, fatigue, sluggish digestion, so slow bowel movements, hair loss. These are really, really common signs of low thyroid. These can also be signs of chronic stress. They can be signs of low iron. There's a lot of different things. So you need to make sure that you get a full workup from your naturopathic doctor or medical doctor before kind of self-diagnosing. We don't want to do that here. But so basically in terms of thyroid labs, if you are having these symptoms, we'll generally run TSH. And TSH is thyroid stimulating hormone. And that's a signal from your brain to your thyroid. So your thyroid is a little butterfly-shaped gland that sits here, right below the Adam's apple. It's really difficult to feel it unless you actually have some nodules or something happening there. So if you're trying to feel it, don't worry if you can. It's okay. It's a bit tricky. I wrote this little diagram. This is something I show patients all the time in clinic. So you can see, usually when I'm doing a thyroid panel, I will run more than just the TSH. In Canada and BC specifically, what happens with the TSH is if that is within range, they will not run any of the other labs, even though there may be something else going on with the thyroid. So I tend to just run a whole thyroid panel if I suspect that that's what's happening. When we look at research, they find that the range in Canada is between 0.5 and 5.5. But in terms of research, where people feel the best, it's when their TSH is between 1 and 2. So TSH is a little bit tricky because the higher the number, the lower your thyroid is, or like the more sluggish your thyroid actually is. So I always compare it to knocking on the door at your friend's house. If you knock and they answer right away, that's what I would compare to the thyroid hormone. So the brain sending a signal to the thyroid. If it responds right away, that number is going to be lower. If you knock, no one answers, and you keep knocking and they keep not answering, then that number is going to get higher and higher. And that means your thyroid is not responding as much. So if you get your labs back and your TSH is a 1 or a 2, great. That is a really good number for your thyroid. If you get your labs back and your TSH is at a 6, it means your thyroid is actually not working as well as it should be working. So I'm going to put this diagram up here again, because like I said, so the TSH is signal from your brain to your thyroid gland. And then what happens is your thyroid makes T4, which is the inactive thyroid hormone. About 80% of what the thyroid makes is T4. Sorry, I'm just like creepily looking over here. And then T3, that's the actual active thyroid hormone. So this is the one that's actually responsible for your metabolism, energy, etc. However, that needs to get most of our actual active hormone needs to get converted in the liver, kidneys, a little bit in the intestines from T4. So you also need iodine, selenium, tyrosine to help with that conversion as well. So that's why I like looking at everything, because sometimes your TSH can say, okay, this is fine, but you're actually not converting it to the active thyroid hormone as well. The other thing that can affect that are TPO antibodies. And this is something I've seen a lot in clinic, where TSH is within range, but TPO antibodies are elevated. TPO antibodies are more of an autoimmune thyroid issue. So if those TPO antibodies are elevated, what's happening is there's inflammation in the thyroid gland, and your thyroid cells are actually attacking themselves, which is not good. And that's going to give you a lot of the same symptoms. So oftentimes and I can't even remember exactly, I think it's like 85 to 90% of people with hypothyroidism actually have Hashimoto's. That's when those TPO antibodies are elevated. And conventionally, they will check that and then they'll diagnose you with that, then they won't recheck it again. But in my practice as a naturopathic, more holistic doctor, I like to recheck the antibodies all the time, because you can actually bring those levels down. The high antibodies means high inflammation, and we need to figure out the root cause and what's going on with the inflammation. So I hope that was helpful. I don't want to make this video too long, but just in summary, the higher the TSH, the more sluggish the thyroid. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. I love to answer all of your questions, and I'll see you next week for Women's Health Wednesday.